Hi, this is John Liette from MindStream Analytics with another snippet of information about planning and budgeting cloud services from Oracle. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about alternate hierarchies, what they are, why we would want to use them, and how to set them up. So what is an alternate hierarchy? Firstly, an alternate hierarchy is a unique roll-up of your chart of accounts or your departments or any other segment of data that you have stored as dimensions within planning and budgeting for reporting purposes. So typically each of those structures have a defined parent-child relationship within their dimensional hierarchies that reflects how the business organizes that data in some source system like an ERP or some other upstream system from planning and budgeting. So we typically want to build out our base structures that mimic those business structures that are kind of formalized and approved everywhere. However, often businesses want to also report at different levels of detail. So perhaps your expense structure in your ERP is completely flat with just an expense parent and all of its children, but you want to be able to put dimensionality or layers in there to group those together. Alternate hierarchies allow us to do that create custom roll-ups on the reporting end of things within planning and budgeting. So where can I take a look at all of this? Let's go to the Navigator menu, and as long as you're a service administrator in an environment, under Create and Manage, you will have an option for dimensions. We're going to click on that and take a look at the account dimension. So here, we want to focus on kind of the concept of creating a custom roll-up or an alternate hierarchy of the expense structure. So if I zoom in a little bit here on income statement, net income, ordinary income expense, and expense, I can see in this sample environment, I've already got some levels of detail in here around some accounts that roll up to total selling expenses, some that are total G&A, and so forth. Within the total G&A, though, I can see that I've got some accounts that roll directly up to the parent member of total G&A, and then I've got some sub-parents that have their own set of accounts that roll up to them. So for total workforce expense, for example, or total insurance expense, or total T&E expenses. So this works great for standard reporting based upon the structure, but what if I wanted to have a set of reports that roll up just the workforce expense and the T&E expenses together for some hypothetical reason? An alternate hierarchy would allow me to create another branch within this structure that contains just the children of these, but not moving these children to those structures, but rather creating what are called shared children or shared members that are basically logical references back to these base members that are stored within what I would refer to as like the main or the primary hierarchy. The data is stored in these members at these parents, but we can create an alternate branch that just references these members for the sake of reporting rollups. So the way that we do that is, and I can show you one that's already done as an example, is we create another branch of the account dimension that we can roll everything up to. This keeps things sane from an organization perspective. This keeps it separate from ever accidentally double counting and rolling up with the income statement member. That's why we keep it as its own separate branch, totally separate. If I expand this, you can see how I built this. I created a parent that's specifically what I'm going to use in the reporting that I'm kind of hypothetically speaking about, is this combined T&E and workforce expenses. If I expand that, you can see that I've got just members directly roll up to it, and they all say shared. The way I got these was by creating a member underneath this account, typing in the exact member name. So in this case, let's say it was 6040, and then marking the data storage option as shared. This will tell me, it gives me this warning that properties will be overridden with base member properties when I choose shared data storage. And that's great. That's what I want. I don't want to have to reinvent the wheel and reset properties and all of that. I want it to simply inherit everything from the base member. So I'll click OK. And then I'm going to cancel this one because I already have that one saved. But if I were to save it, then it would be created here, just like these are, where in the member name, it'll be followed by the parenthetical shared. And then the alias and all the other properties will be inherited from the base member where it is up in the main hierarchy. So you'll also see the data storage will show here that they're shared. That's how I know what these are. Now, another important thing to note is that any shared members have to appear in this outline underneath or below their base member, the member that they are referencing. That's a planning and budgeting requirement. They don't have to be in the same structure, obviously, because ours are not in the same branch of the structure, but they must be like physically below when I'm looking at the page. And that's because when the tool processes this outline, it has to read the base member before it reads the shared member. And so obviously the way that it does that is it goes from top to bottom. So that's why the shared members have to be at the bottom. Now, I often will create, for some clients, depending on how detailed the requirements are, we often will create multiple shared hierarchies or alternate hierarchies with shared members in them within one kind of larger branch here, just for organizational purposes. But the amount that you do this is really kind of up to you. We have some clients that will use very little to no alternate hierarchies, and we have some that use them for all of their reporting. And so we're building out structures in account dimensions and department dimensions. The concept of an alternate hierarchy is not limited to the account dimension. It can be used for any of the dimensions in your application. So then when you're pulling your reports, whether it's in a form or in SmartView, when you're pulling your point of view for the account dimension, you can just focus it on this combined member, and you will see for whatever intersection or point of view that you're pointed to, you will see a roll-up of the sum of these specific accounts in this case as the number there. And then if you drill into combined T&E and workforce in that same kind of form or SmartView report, you will drill in and see the specific detail of these accounts underneath it. So that's how you can create an alternate hierarchy with custom rollups for reporting purposes. If you'd like more information on this topic or any other, definitely reach out to us at mindstreamanalytics.com and keep an eye on our YouTube page for more snippets of information like this one. Thanks for watching.